All right, well, we'll get going. I got 7:02 on my computer here.
Okay.
All right. All right, good evening. Welcome to the March 14th, 2022 meeting of the Marshfield Planning Board. The time is now 7:02 p.m. Tonight's meeting is being recorded by MCTV, and we are holding a live remote meeting via Zoom. Our members here tonight are Katie O'Donnell, Nick Papastratis, Fred Monaco, Kevin Cantwell is currently absent. I am Mike Viviano, the chair, and we have our associate member, Scott DeCastro. Also with us tonight is Greg Guimon, our town planner, and Karen Horn, our assistant town planner. At this time, I'll make a motion to open up tonight's hearing. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Thank you, Nick.
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Fred.
Fred Monaco, aye.
Scott.
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. So tonight's meeting is open, and I'm going to make another motion now to open the public hearing on the zoning changes for the April town meeting. Is there a second?
And waive the reading of the notice.
And waive the reading of the notice. Thank you, Greg.
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick.
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Fred.
Fred Monaco, aye.
Scott.
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. Well, you take it away, Greg.
Okay, so we have three warrant articles that were submitted by the selectmen to the warrant. The first one is for-profit educational use. This had come up a couple of months ago with BRT in discussions with a private special education school, grades 6 to 12, similar to the New England Academy. The site is under discussion is just to the east of where the dog park had been proposed up on Commerce Way. And the zoning change would allow this type of for-profit educational use by special permit in the industrial district. The language would allow other types of for-profit schools that were not fully covered by the Dover Amendment, which is Section 3 of Chapter 40A, or more specifically, under our zoning bylaw, our table of use has a category that's called educational purposes, which are religious, sectarian, denomination, or public. And the building commissioner and I had long discussions, and we felt that we really needed the zoning amendment in order to make it clear that for-profit educational uses were allowed. The second zoning amendment also came up with VRT and a potential use, which is a child care facility on the top of Proprietors Drive, which would be uphill of the Boys and Girls Club and across the street from Snowy Owl Lane. The state law, Section 3 of Chapter 40A, does clearly exempt this use, but our zoning bylaw has never been changed to reflect that. So this zoning change to allow daycare or childcare facilities would be in all districts of the town, and that would make us in line with the state zoning act as far as childcare facilities. And the third zoning article was something that was brought up last year, but it was not on our public hearing, so it could not go forward at town meeting last year. And that is basically to change all references to the Board of Selectmen in the Marshfield zoning bylaw to the Select Board. And those are the three zoning changes for this town meeting.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Okay.
Nope.
Oh,
Oh, we'll just make note Kevin is here.
Yep.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on these at all?
Okay.
I think that's Kevin. There we go. All right, seeing no questions or comments, I'll make a motion that we recommend at town meeting making these changes as proposed. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick?
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Fred? Fred's frozen.
Mm.
Fred, it's a good look when you're frozen. Yep,
There he is. Fred? We need your
It's,
vote.
the vote's on you, Fred.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Let's say Fred Monaco.
Fred Monaco, aye.
Thank you. Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
does Scott vote on this at all?
Nope, not on this one.
Okay. And Mike Viviano, aye. So that is 5-0 in favor of recommending those at town meeting.
Okay.
At this time, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing for the zoning changes. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco,
Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott,
Scott DeCastro, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. So that hearing is closed. The next on the agenda would be the WRPD special permit for Gold Red Farm, and we are going to continue that without any testimony taken tonight. So with that said, I'm going to make a motion that we continue that public hearing until March 28th, 22 at 7:05. Is there a second?
Second, I would just clarify, I think it's red gold. If it's second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Thank you. Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott,
Scott DeCastro, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. So that hearing is continued until 3/28/22. Next on the agenda is a vote on the modification for the special permit of Proprietors Marketplace. Greg, do you have any updates on that, or are we ready to vote?
You should be ready to vote. There was no changes on the decision unless somebody in the member of the public has comments or something that we have not considered.
Okay. Anyone from the board have any issues right now before we go to a vote?
Nope.
I see the owners here. Mike, do you have any questions or comments before we vote?
Actually, Mike's not involved with the Proprietors Marketplace.
Okay, you sold that, I guess. So, all right, seeing none, I'll make a motion that we vote to endorse the modification for the special permit of Proprietors Marketplace. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. So that passes 5-0. Next is a vote for the
Mike, so we'll need board members to come in tomorrow or Wednesday to sign the decisions. And for Mike Verrocchi, we've already voted, the planning board's already voted on the zoning articles to recommend approval at town meeting.
Oh, you have? Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry I was a
That's what
tad
you were
late.
here for.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're on to, we're gonna vote for a minor modification for the special permit regarding the conditions of the monitoring wells at 612 Plain Street. Where did we leave that off, Greg?
So we have a draft decision, and Attorney Brodsky had asked if the board would consider on page 2 under finding number 1 to strike the words "for" after the initial base test. Planning staff doesn't have any problems with that, so if the board would like to go ahead with the vote on the modification, you can.
Okay, any comments from the board? All right, seeing none. Anyone from the public for this? And no one from the public, okay? So at this
And
time, I'm
Mike,
gonna,
just a reminder that Scott, not Kevin, is voting on them.
okay, perfect, thank you. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the minor modification for the well testing parameters to 612 Plain Street. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
and Kevin's not voting on this, and Scott,
Scott DeCastro, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. So that is approved 5-0, and Kevin did not vote. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next item, F, a vote to accept the 2019 Housing Production Plan. Greg?
So it had been written back in 2019. It was approved by the selectmen and the housing partnership. At that point, we had lost our housing coordinator. And we did not know that the planning board under the state law, was supposed to also vote on it. DHCD, with COVID happening and everything else, it never got formally submitted. We only recently realized that the housing production plan had not gone to the state. They had gotten back to us and they said they needed the planning board vote so they could go ahead and activate the current plan. We're coming up on the time frame that we'll have to, every 5 years, you have to do another housing production plan. So that will be coming up in the near term to correct anything. After you're reading it, you may say, hey, what about this or what about that? We were just going to leave it alone, vote it in, and therefore the town is covered until the 5-year period's up.
Okay, any comments from the board? All right, seeing none, I'll make anyone from the public. I don't see anyone else in the meeting. Okay, I'll make a motion that we vote to accept the 2019 housing production plan as written. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. That also passed 5-0. Move on to item G for the minutes. I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes of February 28th, 22. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
and Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. That passes 5-0. Is there a board or staff report, Greg?
All I'll add is that Bill Grafton got a hold of me today and let us know that the Conservation Commission has continued its public hearing on Red Gull Farm until April 5th. Karen, do you have anything? We do have Karen working on a few maps. One in particular is the trails on the south end of town that shows how Red Gold connects to all these other things, plus sidewalks.
Okay, sounds good. Anyone from the board have any comments right now? Updates? All right, seeing none, I will make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott,
Scott DeCastro, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. All right, thank you, everyone. That concludes tonight's meeting.
Thanks, have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.